Good morning from Pala, Thailand. Hope you are doing well. Thought I'd make a quick live stream this morning. Yin and I got a lot of stuff to do today, but there's something pretty pressing for YouTube creators here in Thailand, or not just YouTube, but any video creation in Thailand that you share to the public. So I thought I'd address that real quick, give you the Triple T perspective, so that people that follow our channel, if they notice any changes in the content, you'll understand why. But give me just a second, I'll be right back. I finished my coffee, but I'm gonna go get me a cold water. So we'll no notice of the live stream. We'll just let people enjoy the ambiance here on the upper deck for a minute, and I'll be right back. Good morning. See Travel Craze Mania in the house. Thanks for coming in, my lady. Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to go live briefly, guys. I'm not going to be too long. Just thought it'd be a good idea to give people a heads up if you haven't already heard. Oh, right in the sun. Anyway, yeah, it's hot already, huh?
And then you take the brown color sack.
You have the sack? It's on the table, or maybe in the office, because my camera was in it. I think it's on the table, baby. That one brown sack. No, me and I have been busy. We had a great Memorial Day event yesterday up in Pattaya with the American Legion. Super fantastic. Got some great footage of the Honor Guard service, but it's going to take me a long time to put that one together because we're basically making the military funeral service for the benefit of Thai families, Thai widows. So I'll be putting in closed caption text to explain the folding of the American flag and why it's presented to surviving family or the widow especially. And because they don't have that same military honor guard system here in Thailand, they do drape their coffins with the Thai flag for military personnel. But America has a very unique military honor guard if it's been requested by a soldier or a veteran. So to be able to explain that so that the Thai people have a better understanding. You do, Lucky. Because, you know, we lose a lot of guys over here that are American veterans. As a matter of fact, there'll actually be another full honor guard funeral service on Thursday with the VFW Pattaya post. So I've been invited to that as well. But, you know, when you lose someone and they have the military funeral service requested, oftentimes the Thai spouse or significant other or the Thai family members in Thailand have no idea what the military honor guard is for, and what's the meanings of the 21 folds in the flag, and a 21 gun salute, and why is the flag folded in a triangle, and so I'm going to take the footage that I have from our honor guard at the American Legion post THO2 Pattaya, take that and combine it with some military stock footage of soldiers as pallbearers, and then explain in the Thai language, the meanings of everything. So that video will be able to live in perpetuity. And if there's ever an occasion where we lose an American veteran, and this is for all of Southeast Asia region, but mainly for Thai, then obviously we can just add the personal touch to the end of the video, showing the fallen brother, right? A photo of him, and maybe his widow holding a photo of him. Add that in to the video that I'm going to create, and then it'll give it a personal touch, and we'll be able to send that on a flash drive or something to the family. So oftentimes we don't get notice, of a veteran passing away, and then here in Thailand they go ahead and do the Buddhist funeral service and the cremation and all that. So if there's no veterans groups that have been notified about the loss of that particular brother or sister, then we weren't there to be able to perform the military honor guard. So that's kind of the purpose of the video, is to have that on standby at any time, in case, because we have had those circumstances arise, and we're able to provide the family with something, and it's kind of personalized at the end with the photo of the fallen military veteran and their spouse or family, right? So it's going to take me a while to put that one together, but I mean, it's just a great event. We had a poolside resort up in Pattaya, huge area. We had I brought the karaoke system. We had live music and people singing, and just a great family event. And then of course, the full honor guard ceremony and some speeches about the history of some fallen members of the U.S. military. So it was a really great event, and so now it's my responsibility to kind of try to put this video together. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be one that I spend a lot of time on. So, but I do have some other things coming. But getting to the point of video content, uploading public content here in Thailand, for those of you that follow my Teacher Thomas Facebook or my personal Facebook, if you happen to be a friend there. My great friend Maggie, was formerly known as Maggie's Journey, but it's now My Memory Mini Mind, quad M's. She put out a little announcement about this new law, and I had heard some things about this, but I had no certainty that it was actually going to be a law that came into effect. But it actually does come into effect, from what I understand, tomorrow here in Thailand, which is June the 1st, 2022. And this really changes things for video creation here in Thailand. Now, many of you know that I do like 5-minute reviews on restaurants, and I like to promote businesses. I did a video at the brand new mall here in Bon Chong when the new mall opened. I thought that would be great content, and every time I do that, before I start taking video footage, I don't do it live, right? So every time I do that, I talk to the business owner, or for example at the mall, I talked to the door guy, and he radioed up, and I got approval to film the mall, right? But the problem is, if I capture anybody's identifiable face in the video and then upload it to public, and I didn't have the consent from anyone that appears in the video, then there could be a huge problem in Thailand now. So we're going to have to give this time and let it play out. But for any of you that have been to Thailand and know how the system of government and amendments to laws and things work here with the various ministries, there's nothing done spontaneously, okay? So this law that takes effect tomorrow had to be in the works for, I'm guessing, years, right? Talk about it, proposals, committee meetings, various ministries, right, that oversee public content, stuff like that.
You know, it may have started with you know, Thai people complaining that their image is being used for personal gain by vloggers or TikTok creators or whatever the case may be, right? Anybody that uploads images. But after I got the notification from Maggie, and I think the first viewer on her little short clip where she did a really good job just saying, hey, be careful, you know, there's a new law coming into effect, and it definitely put some regulations on public photography, right, and be sharing those images. After I watched that, then I started doing a lot of research. My wife, Nam Yen, started looking through a lot of government Facebook Thai postings about the new law, and then I was translating all of those postings, you know, official government postings about the new law. I was translating those into English and doing all my research, and it's very very intensive language in the law. It even covers CCTV footage. So we've got CCTV all over. Now, if it's inside your house, there's no issue there, right? That's your private resident. But we actually have two that point towards the street here, right? That cover both of our gates. And so we're easily able to capture anyone walking down the street or driving by or whatever, right? You get a lot of foot traffic, joggers, bicyclists, right? So we would be capturing their identifiable facial, you know, you could tell who they were from our CCTV. Now that's not a problem because we don't share those images, but it's actually in the law specifically about, you know, CCTV or security footage that you need a sign up, you know, that notifies people that, you know, they're on camera. So even if you're not sharing it publicly, you need to, you know, explicitly let the public know that there's a camera, right? So if they walk in front of that and they see the sign, that basically they're giving, you know, consent or whatever. But I mean, it really goes into detail, and this is the stuff that I've been researching, and there's a lot of language in this new law, guys, a lot of language. So it's very complicated, and I'm not fluent in Thai by any means, and translations are often not that reliable. But it's a lot of language, guys. So let's say, for example, we had an incident, an accident out here on the road, and we captured it on CCTV. We could tell who the person was, whatever, right? We couldn't like take a screenshot of that and share it to Facebook and say, look, you know, this person XYZ just had an accident, or this person just tried to take off with somebody else's motorcycle. Or you couldn't share it, even if it was a criminal act. That's how specific this law is. So think about that, okay? So basically, it would allow us to continue, obviously, with our CCTV security camera footage here, which is recording all the time, and it's stored for 21 days at a time, right? So we can go back through and select anything, right? We need to put a sign out here. I mean, that by law, we need to put a sign that we have that footage, and then if there was ever an incident, the last thing you would ever do is post it, an image of anyone that's recognizable. You wouldn't want to do that, right? Now, obviously, if there was an incident that you felt you need to get law enforcement involved, then you could share, you know, privately to a third party, i.e. law enforcement, you know, video evidence of who did what, right? If that was your kid, but still, even then, that's not sharing it publicly, right? That's in the course of an investigation. So the real critical language that I kept getting in the translation over and over and over is, it seems to be that the law is targeted for those who have some kind of a personal gain in sharing the image or anything identifiable about someone else. It doesn't have to be an image. It talks about sharing someone else's story. So if you just wrote a story, you know, like a news outlet, let's say, if you're a news outlet in Thailand, you're a licensed corporation, right? You're registered with the government. You have a license as a media company, right? So obviously, they share images. I mean, that's what they do, right? Motorcycle accidents, you know, you're going to see people on the street, people that were involved. So I don't think it would apply to them. But you know, if you don't have you're not a licensed media corporation or anything, you'd have to be very, very careful. So if I was to just say, so let's say Nam Yen shows me some story that happened here in Pala, because she follows the news here real closely, right? And there's a story, and the person's identified by name, or maybe something in the story is known only to them, right? And then we post publicly, XYZ occurred in Pala, you know, we share it. We share that information. That would be it could be a violation of law, because you're sharing someone else's story. You see what I mean? So it doesn't have to be just an image. It could be an article. And, you know, as far as the technicalities to whether their name would have to be in the story that you shared, right? And, I mean, it even specifies criminals, right? So you couldn't, like, copy and paste a story from, say, Bangkok Post that named a criminal, right? Or showed their image, and then you share it up on your social media or something. That would still fall underneath the law. You're sharing someone else's story. It doesn't matter if the story's accurate or not, right? I mean, they've always had pretty strict laws about, you know, what's so-called fake news in Thailand, where you don't want to share anything that you don't know to be true, right? They've had that. But anyway, I've done quite a bit of study. I'm going to do a lot more study, but I just give you an example. Like when I filmed that mall, and I got permission from the mall, right? The supervisor or director of the mall said, yeah, go ahead and make a video. You know, I explained to him, hey, brand new mall, I wanted to promote it. Got quite a few people locally in the region here on the Eastern Seaboard that follow the channel, and they probably haven't gotten down to the mall yet, and I can give them a little tour. So they were more than happy, and Thais generally are. When I do the 5-minute reviews for businesses, they more than happy, you know, to do a review on their business, right? It's just promotion, right? If we had a good experience and we can share that to others, then, you know, we put their Facebook links. But here's the difference. Like when I went to that mall and I got the mall's authority, I still didn't have the authority of all the public that appeared in my video, right? And so even though it wasn't a live stream, I'm sure I captured a lot of identifiable faces. I mean, how do you film a mall, right? You can't hold your camera at the floor and then go, oh, there's a camera shop, right? And try to show somebody what's available in the mall without capturing somebody's face. I mean, it's like impossible, right? So that's what will change on my channel. I'm going to obviously be over cautious because I definitely don't want to violate any law. I mean, I'm scheduled to get my permanent resident status here in Thailand, which is a big, big deal. It means I no longer have to deal with visas. Can live in any province I want to. I don't have, you know, to report to immigration offices and stuff like that. So definitely don't need anything that's, you know, even subject to any scrutiny on the YouTube channel. And say the law takes place June 1st, tomorrow, 2022. So anything prior to that, so the videos I have, for example, at the triathlon. Now I talked to the people, you know, that were running the Roboman Triathlon. They were, again, more than happy for me to film the event and create videos, right? Explain to them, you know, the audience is, you know, like 48% in Thailand, a lot of expats, stuff like that. And then, you know, America, Australia, you know, the West. So people tune in and, wow, I didn't know they host these great triathlon events. So they understood exactly what I was doing. I asked ahead of time and they gave me the go ahead. But you can see if you watch any of those videos, I captured tons of people, right? In the face, right? Now, it would be impossible to go get consent from all of those people. So there's a lot of things I do on the channel that I'll be able to continue to do. And if I go to the beach and do an early morning live stream, most of the time there's never any people in the video. And if there are people in the video, they're at a distance. So there's not identifiable, right? You can't see their faces or anything. So stuff like that I'll be able to continue to do. When Nami and I go to temples and anything in the public area, you know, I'm going to have to be real careful. And, you know, I like to do spontaneous interviews with people. And obviously I would get their consent before I put them on the camera. But anyway, that's basically the bottom line of what could be a game changer for video creation on any platform, not just YouTube, but any video platforms that are shared in the public. Is, like Maggie said, we have to be very careful and cognizant that if you share someone's story, okay, now I want you to, In Thai, it's a lot more detailed. And again, my Thai is not that good, but if it gets you to think about that, share somebody's story. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be an image. If there's something that's a trademark to a specific person that's known in Thailand, right? And you know that that's part of their story, and you're sharing that. Well, I mean, that's identifiable to them. Would it not be? Anybody that saw a particular thing, right, that you were sharing on video or social media in a photo, whatever you're doing, right? If that's part of someone else's story and it can be identified to other people and you're sharing that, there you go. A report, a criminal report could be filed, right? So I think that's what they're trying to do. So when you think about that, I know it's difficult for me to explain the details as I know them in the context of the Thai language, right? But think about that. You can't share someone else's story. So let's say, for example, I'm doing a 5-minute review at a restaurant, right? Business owner, happy to have me, right? Filming the food, film the atmosphere, kind of showing you around, right? You know how decorated Thai businesses are with the beautiful gardens and landscapes, right? So, okay, I got their consent to do that. But what if I capture other customers, okay? So you say you got a man and a woman, and they're sitting down, they're eating dinner and having a glass of wine. Well, you've just shared their story. Who they are, where they were, what they were doing, right? So there's a story in the image that was captured. Now, if you're not doing live and you're taking video footage, you could go up to those people and say, hey, Thai video, g'day mate, you know, are you okay if I make the video, you know, right? And you're in the video. And if they say yes, then when you upload the video, you can be confident that everyone that was pictured in the video, you had their consent, right? So again, that's the key word. If you have their consent, there's no problem at all. So another example would be, let's say I went to my buddy's bar up in Pattaya and I wanted to make some video and promote, you know, his bar. Well, as long as I had the camera facing, you know, back towards the bar and all the staff had already given their consent and anyone that was in the frame had given their consent, then, you know, hell, I could live stream, right? But the minute I turn the camera around and it faces the public street or public patrons coming in and out of his bar, and they got captured on the live stream, well, there you go. On a live stream, you can't edit it. I've already published their identifiable face on YouTube, right? Without their consent. So now, it doesn't mean that you can't go up to those people and say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I'm making a live stream, are you okay? And if they say, yeah, no problem, then, right, you've got their consent. It's not like it's automatically going to cause the video creator a problem, but it could be, you know, it could be. Somebody could come back later and say, no, I didn't want to be in your video. You know, you didn't have my consent. Oh, shit, I've already released that video. Uh-oh, I violated the law in Thailand, right? So these are the kind of things that I'm going to be very careful about. Again, I've got Triple D's consent, so we'll keep some Triple D footage coming for you. I've got some new Dan the Dog footage coming. I've already got it captured. Again, I've been really busy. We had the Memorial Day event for the VFW here in Ban Chang, here in Pala on Saturday, and then yesterday, Monday, the actual Memorial Day, we had the American Legion, and Yin and I have been busy, and there's some concerts here in Ban Chang this week, and Yin and I are going to go to, and obviously I won't be filming those. So now when I did the Ban Chang Cultural Art and Culture Show, that was put on by the Ban Chang City government, which I got introduced to, okay? And they knew I was a YouTuber. They were happy to do that. You know, happy to have me there to promote Ban Chang, right? The art and culture show. What, you know, good content, right? Again, Thais are not normally going to object to it, but all it takes is one, right? You have one person that was captured and said, I didn't want to be in that video. You know, maybe they were with somebody that they thought was discreet, you know. Very different here in Thailand than what as Americans are used to, because in America, we have freedom of the press. It's in our First Amendment. And you don't have to have a license to be considered press, right? You can be just a regular person, and if you're in a public place on public property, you can film all you want. There's no expectation of privacy in public in America. Now, you can't walk into a private business in America and film. You can't do that without the consent of the property owner. That's private property. It's not publicly owned, right? But in Thailand, there is no such, constitutional right to film in public, right? So, anyway, I obviously, I mean, I had heard, rumblings about something like this, and that, there have been people that had been making complaints about various aspects of, again, not just YouTube, but video content that's been, constantly released to the public here in Thailand. But I had no idea, that there was an actual law coming. I mean, I don't have that insight. I just heard, what you might say are rumors, but these are from Thai people, that are pretty reliable, that, eventually something might come of more restrictions on public photography in general. Now, here's another example. Let's say Yen and I are out at dinner and we take a selfie and we want to show everybody, what food we're eating, and I like to check in. I like to give reviews and stuff to restaurants on their Facebook page and various things. And we snap a selfie and we clearly have somebody's image in the back, right? But I posted up on Facebook. Accidentally, there was no personal gain. I'm not getting any personal gain that they were in the shot, right? So technically, it could still be a violation if that person said, hey, I was in your photo that you posted publicly. I didn't want to be in. So, but I don't think that would be the enforcement mechanism. I don't think people would, because you can see Thai people love selfies, right? And it's hard to take selfies and group pictures and video and not have other people in the shot, right? But I think it's more geared to, again, there's a lot of language about personal gain, personal benefit, personal reasons that you would be sharing that image, right? So obviously you'd have no personal gain or personal reason. You don't even know the person that was in the back of the selfie shot while you were eating dinner, right? So if there's no personal gain, no personal vendetta, no personal reason you're using that person, then technically I think the law wouldn't really apply. It might be under the umbrella of, yes, you did post somebody without their consent, but again, personal gain or personal reasons, the party that's releasing a third party, the party that published it, had a personal reason for doing that, right? So, and anything identifiable to someone else's story. So again, when you think of an image, that can tell a story, right? A picture's worth 1,000 words. But anything that's identifiable to someone, right? There's people that have long time, phrases or whatever that when you see or hear that or you read that, like Land of Smiles, okay? You don't have to be told that that's Thailand. You know that Land of Smiles, LOS, is Thailand, right? It's basically worldwide known. Well, there's a lot of people that have those same identifiable trademarks, it doesn't have to be patented or, copyrighted, brand or something, but it's identifiable to someone else. And you're releasing it. You're putting that out there. Well, as soon as somebody sees, for the example, Land of Smiles, you don't have to say the word Thailand, right? People know you're talking about Thailand. So it's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. So you have to be careful. Don't share someone else's story. Key word, and it's in the language over and over again. Sharing their story. So that can be by an image, a video, a phrase, anything that can be identified as someone else's story, to where the consumer, the audience on social media saw that, whether it was a tagline, an image, or whatever it was, and thought, oh, I know them, right? I know exactly who that's referring to. Well, if that person that you're referring to makes a report that they feel like you are sharing their story with that information, you could be in trouble, because it's, again, this is criminal law we're talking about. It's a new law that makes it a crime to basically publish someone's image or identifiable story without their consent. So obviously I just wanted to ramble about it, let you know what I found out so far. And you guys know me, I'm a good listener. I'll be listening to a lot of people on this and doing as much research as I can. But for those of you that have followed the channel for a long time, I mean, I never was keen on too much live stream. We did a little bit of live stream at our open mic karaoke bar, but I was still I didn't like it because I knew a lot of customers were uncomfortable. They didn't want to come into a place of business if they knew they were going to be captured, right? And people go out and they like to be discreet, I mean, respect people's privacy, so anyway, I was always a little leery about it, but it's kind of a game changer even if it's not a live stream. Now, obviously, if it's not live and I upload the video and I did happen to capture somebody's face, I can blur that out, right, and make it unidentifiable. You don't know who the person was, so there you go. But can imagine if you're out filming a public beach and you got hundreds of people in your shot, how much work it would be to like remove all those identities. I mean, so anyway, I trust Maggie. I'm sure a lot of you guys know her. She's a very smart Thai lady, and her English is very proficient, and I don't think she would have put this out. That's where I got the first actual notice of it, and then like say I've gotten confirmation through all of the posts that Yin is showing me, on actual government. The government uses a lot of Facebook pages, you know what I mean? So they post a lot. Facebook is like king here in Thailand as far as a lot of the actual official news too, not just, individuals posting things, but actual government entities that have a page and post things, announcements and things like that. So, looking at everything that Yin showed me, doing a lot of translation and talking to her, and letting her translate how she felt it reads in Thai, what it actually means. To me, I'm going to be really, really careful. I can't until I know for a fact, whether or not there's even a question of illegality. I can't go film a triathlon again, right? I mean, you can get permission from the event coordinator, but they can't speak for everyone that you're going to capture in a video, right? So, and the same thing with the 5-minute reviews, oftentimes unintentional, with no personal purpose, I capture other customers in the 5-minute review, right? Now, I'd have to blur all those out. I mean, technically, the way the law reads, I would have to go to each one of those people that I capture and say, "You're okay," and one of them says no. Or maybe they tell me yes, but then later they're like, "No, I didn't want my," maybe they misunderstood what I was going to do with their image, right? And they filed a report against me after I uploaded it, right? I mean, what, you got to get signed consent? You know what I mean? So it's a risky business, and I think this is going to be big talk. I'm sure, we got one YouTuber in Thailand that is an actual attorney in English speaking that I know of, which is Integrity Law, out of Bangkok, an American attorney there. And I'm sure he'll be covering it. You guys know I always refer you to other news sources. Fabulous Pattaya 103 FM is a great English news source. Bangkok Post, and of course everybody knows that there's many Thai news sources that have full English translation by the media company. So I'd say, stay tuned and follow that. But I just want you to know, because we got a lot of people that, we got people that watch videos occasionally, and people that watch every video. I've met people that like, well, you're Teacher Thomas, but they haven't watched a video since back when the bar was open. I mean, literally, like, yeah, I watched you build the bar and, everything you guys did and all that stuff. But, it's not like they're avid consumers of YouTube, but there are people that have followed the channel for a long time that might, hear this live stream or watch the playback. And so just heads up for all of you that do support the channel, you can be, assured that I'm going to be very, very cautious. So I'll continue to provide content. And my style is, I'm normally on the other side of the camera, and I like to show people Thailand. I always ask permission from the business owners, but I don't go out there, in public places that, like I say, I didn't even like doing live streams at my own bar. I would keep the camera at the stage, and then the people that went up and sang karaoke songs or something, they knew that you know they were going to be on video, so they were voluntarily giving their consent right when they went up there. But even then, in my own establishment, I didn't like it. So, you know, I can imagine a scenario where, you know, a man and a woman walking down the street in any city, you name it, Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, wherever, right? And they walk by somebody doing a live stream, and they immediately go, "Hey, you don't have my consent. I don't want to be in your video." Well, how do you edit that? I mean, the video creator would have to immediately close the stream and then remove the stream from public. But even then, it's already been, so I could imagine live stream being a nightmare. I mean, you know, at least if you're doing an upload, you have the opportunity to edit, cut those people out, blur faces, all that kind of stuff too. So if you didn't get consent, you can protect yourself, right? But live stream, you can't do that. So, I mean, say for example, Nam Yen and I are walking down the street in Pattaya, you know, and we walk by, you know, somebody that's live streaming on the streets, right? Or maybe they're just sitting at, you know, one of the noodle shops, you know, tons of live stream content in Thailand like that. You guys have seen it, right? Street walking or people just sitting down, just showing the public, you know. I always thought it was a little creepy to live stream everybody just, you know, maybe they don't want to be live, but anyway, there's a lot of that content. I mean, just imagine if you are aware of the law, the new law, right, that you have to get their consent, and as soon as they appear to get captured in your live stream footage without consent, and they immediately, if it's Thai, and they immediately, hey, you need to come down here, there's so-and-so filming, we just got captured on their live stream video, we want to make a report. I mean, that's the, you know, worst case scenario that I would see, that maybe, especially live stream video content, would have to be very, very aware of. I mean, because again, when you're live, it's being released in real time, so you can't protect their privacy, you can't get their consent prior to, because it was live, right? So anyway, that's my rant. It's rant. Well, I mean, it's not a rant, but it could be a game changer for my channel too. You know, now I don't depend on YouTube for any reason other than it's a hobby and I enjoy making video content, and you know, I average less than $100 a month revenue on the channel, but nevertheless, there is a personal gain, right? I mean, there is some revenue, right? So definitely, I feel like, you know, that as a video creator, that I would fall under the law without question.
I looking the news.
Are you?
Thailand.
Okay.
Some your YouTuber go from the restaurant. You talking for the owner.
Right.
You not to Zoom people.
Right. That's what they're talking about. So Yen's talking about just exactly what I've always done. Like when we go do the 5-minute reviews, you talk to the restaurant owner or the business owner.
Fake people, and yeah, not correct.
Exactly. Can't get people's faces. So you get the permission from the business owner, like the tackle shop, bait and tackle video that I did. Okay. I don't know if there was any customers in there at the time. I don't think there was, but she's listening to Thai news right now.
If they have camera for the house, it's okay. And inside the car, don't worry. And
right.
Something for Pichiro, have camera looking for another people drive, and it's okay. Don't
right,
worry.
right. Dash camera, all this, but you're not releasing that.
Yeah.
You're not putting that out. You're not sharing their image. You're just like CCTV, right? Your security. You're just using it for security.
Some for people.
But what she said is they're talking on the Thai news. They even mentioned YouTuber, that if a YouTuber's walking in a restaurant, as long as they have the business owner's permission, obviously they can film the restaurant and film themselves and film their dinner and all that. But the customers in there cannot, right? You cannot get their faces unless you ask the customer. You have to ask that person. So, like I say, Yin's on it. She's listening to the Thai news on the situation right now, because she knows that last thing we want to do, she's in a lot of my videos. We do things together. You know, even when, you know, we went jungle hiking to the waterfalls, there's a lot of people that appear in the video on the trail, right? So, but none of them were live, so as long as I turn the camera and say, hey, do you guys mind being on the video? you know, I have a YouTube channel, and they're like, oh no, good, you know, because most Thai people are, they don't care, right? I mean, they don't care. But if you don't ask and you release it, you're setting yourself up for problems. Anyway, okay, I'm going to close it out, babe. We got a busy day, guys. We got a lot of stuff going on. But I did want to give you that update. Let me see. Bill's in the house. What I see is wrong is people being filmed without their knowledge. Yeah, I agree with that, Bill, but, you know, even if your camera is obvious, right? I mean, if they're going that way, or they're going to that restaurant and eat, they have to change their plans to not be in the video, or to be captured, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you think about it, like, Bill, I'm sure you know, and Jeff Johnson, I know he follows some of them. James Shannon in the house, Sue Rowan, thank you guys. In America, again, we have freedom of press. Okay, it's a First Amendment constitutional right. So if you're on a public sidewalk, you can have the biggest, baddest camera in the world. Anything you can see from public, you can film. It's your right, okay? But that doesn't apply on private property, okay? So there are, you know, areas that they can't do. So the First Amendment auditors are huge on United States YouTube. I mean, these are some of the biggest, most successful YouTube channels in America right now, because they're going out and they're exercising their freedom of press rights, constitutional right, by filming in public. So there's no expectation of privacy. Okay, we're in Thailand. Thailand doesn't have that in their constitution, right? So Bill's point is good. I mean, you know, there's voyeur cams and all. There's creepy shit, okay? There's one channel, I'm not going to mention the name. I don't watch it, but I was told about it, you know, maybe a year or so ago. Somebody said, have you ever seen this channel, right? And no, why? And they're like, oh, they've got this great big camera of some kind. It's got a massive zoom-in lens, right, Bill? Not just us, you know, going around wide-angle GoPro stuff. But this guy, I don't know what kind, but you never see the video creator, the vlogger, whatever you want to call him. You never hear his voice or anything like that. All he does is like hide, I guess, and he zooms in on people, and it's all over the streets of Pattaya. And I remember the first time somebody told me about the channel, and I went over there and watched it. I'm like, oh my God, that's creepy. Like, how could that be legal is what I thought, because like Bill said, those people had no idea there was a camera around. You could tell, like, it's, you know, Thai vendors, it's just public stuff. I mean, you know, Farhan pulls up on a motorcycle, picks up a girl walking down the street, you know what I mean? And he's like zooming in, like, so anyway, I don't know how many of those channels there are in Thailand. I didn't even know that there was that kind of a channel, Bill. I don't know if you've seen some of that stuff. So to me, that's like creepy content. I mean, that's up in people's personal, and that's all the channel is. And it's hundreds of thousands of views almost on every video. So cranking in the revenue without a doubt. So personal gain, and the whole thing, the entire channel is filming public without their knowledge. Because I mean, if you got that zoom in lens, nobody knows. I mean, you're sitting on a beach chair over here and you're filming clear up the street, right? Clear, high definition video without mistake identifiable faces. So I don't know how many channels are like that, but to me, what Bill is saying about voyeurism is, I mean, obviously nobody can consent to it because you can't even see the camera. But even if you can see the camera, let's say you're in a restaurant or a bar or whatever, and some person walks in doing a live stream, and there you are in the live stream. I mean, maybe you're with somebody that you didn't want anybody to know. You know what I mean? So it is kind of, you know, and again, in Thailand, you can't think of it as, you know, a right for public photography. There's freedom of the press, not as an individual constitutional right, right? So your argument about, well, it's public, you're in public, there's no expectation of privacy in public, that argument works in America. If you're in public, you're on public property, government owned, public park, public city hall, that's what these